Hey guys, welcome to the first lesson in the next section, which is layers. Now, we've already looked at layers, how we turn them off, how we move them about, how we create new ones and put them in a folder. We've looked at that, but we're going to look at them in more depth now. First of all, what we're going to look at is blending modes, okay? So I've downloaded two images from a website called Pexels, which is PEXELS.com, I think. Actually, let's just open it up. Basically, it's another royalty-free website where you can get images from, .com. And most of the images, if not all, the two images I downloaded were these two by here. Okay, so if we click on this one, for example, free download, it's got a CC0 license, which is a type of Creative Commons license. So free for personal and commercial use, no attribution required, so you don't have to credit the person. If we click to read more, with a CC0 license, Creative Commons 0 license. Pictures are free for personal and even for commercial use. You can modify, copy and distribute the photos if you wanted to, or without asking for permission or setting a link to the source, so attribution is not required. Only restriction is that the identifiable people may not appear in a bad light. Stuff like that. So, cool. Anyway, the website is Pexels. Just, I haven't seen a photo without a CC0 license. I'm not saying there aren't. Let's just pick another random one. It may well be. But just make sure you get one with a CC0 and you'll be fine. Anyway, let's pop out here. So mine are on my desktop, so I'm going to open one of them. So I'm going to File Open instead of File New this time. Then on my desktop, where is it going to be? It's probably going to start with P for Pexels, isn't it? So I'm going to open whatever 879832 is. I should have named them. And this is the beach one. Okay, now I've got my brush, my blood brush from last time. So that looks a bit weird now if I click there, but that was from last lesson. So I'm going to just get my selection tool. Now, we've got this as the background layer, okay? And what I do, if I ever open up a photo as a document, I just duplicate this. So there's two ways. Either click your background layer and hit Control-J or Command-J, and it'll duplicate it, and you've got two versions. Or another way is to grab this background layer, drag this layer to the new icon layer, and it'll just copy it, okay? So you can turn the background off, and then we'll just use this. So I don't know what, I'm going to call it maybe beach or something. There you go, beach. So let's say, actually let's open the other one. So it's 879832. So I'll go File, Open, and I'm going to open the other one. Let's get it. Where is it? This one, but here. So I'm going to open this one as well, and I'm going to repeat the same process. So click and drag it down to the new layer icon. Turn off the background. Now, let's say I want to overlay these on top of each other for whatever reason. What I'm going to do, I've got two tabs at the top, by the way. These are my documents. I can just flick between them. Okay. So if I click and drag this, let's rename this to laptop. If I were to click and drag this layer from this layers panel into my other document here, hold, still clicking down, okay, still got the layer, and then drop it on the center. This photo is now on top, so we've got laptop on top of beach, and by the looks of it, it's a lot bigger. So if we move it down, there you go, it's a lot bigger than the other one. So what I may do is zoom out. So I'm going to hit Z on the keyboard, and you can see I've got a magnifying glass with a plus. If I hold Alt, it's now a minus. So if I click, it'll zoom out, and eventually I should be able to see the bounding box. If I hit V, or get my selection tool, I'll be able to see the bounding box of this laptop. If you can't see that, just make sure Show Transform Controls is ticked, and you've got this tool selected, and you're on the right layer. So what I'm going to do is hold Shift and scale it down so it's on top, like so. Hold Shift, and maybe I'll just, something like that, that's fine. Maybe bring it across so you can see the word dream. And there, I'm good. And remember to hit enter. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back in now. Just get my zoom tool, and I'm going to click and drag around it. You can see a little box there. Click and drag around it, and that's how far I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Awesome. So I've got this laptop picture on top of my beach. Great. Well, not great because it's not doing anything. I want to put my beach on top of my laptop first. There you go. And up the top, we've already gone through opacity, so we can turn the opacity of the beach down to 50, let's say. We can type it in there, 50%. So it's on top, but you can kind of see it. Yeah, that looks alright. Looks creative, I guess. Maybe the beach is the dream, but they're stuck at work, I don't know. But let's change this back to 100. There you go. Now we can play around with something called blending mode. So if we select our layer, and it says normal at the moment, you've got loads in here. So if I hit dissolve, it doesn't do anything crazy. Now you can see it's got a blue box around it, so I can actually hit the down key on my keyboard. Okay, and it's going to go dissolve. It's going to go darken. That's interesting. Multiply. That's interesting as well. You can kind of circle through. So we've got color burn. And all I'm doing by hitting the down key is once I've selected one, it kind of keeps it. So I go screen, that's a nice one. It kind of keeps it with a blue box around it, and you can just cycle through them and kind of see what effects you get. Actually, I like, no, that one if it was a bit brighter, which you can always change. Actually, that's nice. That's nice. And you can cycle through and see what kind of effects you get. Now, some of them look absolutely ugly. Some of them look quite creative. But in another course, not in this course because this is a beginner's course, I'm actually going to go into the details of what actually each of these are actually technically doing. Coming from a visual effects background, I use a program called Nuke where it gives you the kind of algebra of what's actually happening here. It's like A plus B, or I'll go into that in a future session, but I can actually delve into what's actually happening in each of these. But that will definitely be in a future session, so don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with that today. So yeah, you can cycle through them, and right now it's probably not making a whole lot of sense. Why would I want something like that? Well, let me show you. So if I turn this beach off, no, the laptop off, sorry, beach to normal, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to get a brush, not my blood brush. I'm just going to get a nice normal brush like this one. It's quite big. I'm going to make it smaller with the square bracket keys. Let's get the B, make it smaller. Now let's say I want to darken this sand, maybe it's too bright for me. If I get the black, okay, and I start drawing, let's make this a soft brush. Soft, take the hardness down. I'm going to take the opacity down to about, let's just say 20. Okay, let's say I start drawing on here to darken. Yeah, it's darkening it down, but it's not doing the best job. You'll see now when it all kind of renders in. Oh, it's going to take a long time to come in, isn't it? Maybe I should have done it with a more fuller black. Actually, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Forget what I just did. I'm going to have to wait for that to all paint in now. That is one way, technically, of darkening it. It's quite a quick, dirty way, though. And blending modes can really help sell it, okay? So let's just let that all paint in. This is the problem with doing this on a laptop because my computer's currently in the shop at the moment. Let's get rid of this layer, okay? Let's say I didn't turn the opacity down because it's easier to illustrate without it. Okay, let's get a bigger brush so it does it quicker. And I'm going to paint black in this area because this is the area I want to kind of darken. Okay, now, obviously, that's darkened it way too much as it kind of gradually paints in. Please hurry up. Yeah, you can see that really doesn't do it justice. It's basically blocking things out. Now, where blending modes can come in quite nicely, you can kind of, if we had a horizon, if you imagine this was a horizon and the sky was too bright, we can kind of fake an ND filter on cameras, the natural density density filters. Natural density. Now actually, I have done a problem here. I haven't drawn on a new layer, and that's an issue because I want to control, this is actually good actually, I wanted to control just the black elements, and I can't because it's on the same layer as the beach. So I'm glad I did that. You know, even people who've been using this software for years make mistakes, and I'm very, very glad I did that because it shows how useful layers are, because I wouldn't be able to do what I'm about to do if I didn't have layers. Now it is a shame it still takes so long, when I made a mistake. But yeah, just remember that's how useful layers are. So I'm glad I did that in the layers section and not any other sections, but there we go. So I've drawn in my black where I want to darken, okay? And now it's all good because it's on a separate layer. Now, I've drawn it in, and I can go through these blending modes and dissolve. Let's see what that does. Well, it's kind of dissolve, like scatters the edges. It's not great. I can cycle through these now with the down button and kind of see what's going to work, what's going to darken it for me. So I'll cycle through. Well, that's kind of, this one's kind of doing overlays, but actually the soft light's doing quite a good job. It's quite saturated as well, and I like that. It's taking essentially this layer 1 and it's using different blending modes to put it on top of this beach. And I like soft light. Now, if that's maybe a little bit too strong, what you can do, you can turn the opacity down of the layer. So that's maybe why it's better doing it this way rather than painting on with a low opacity, because if you want it stronger, you can't make it stronger. Just drawing it as a whole with black or white to brighten it, and then you can lower the opacity of the actual layer. Now that's actually that's quite interesting. So I take that off. That's what it was before, and I actually think that that's looking nicer. Anyway, I'll turn it back up to 100 just so we can see the full effect of the rest of them. So we're on soft light. So let's try hard light. No, it's not nice. Linear. Let's circle through. That one brightens it. Hue completely sucks the colour out, which is interesting, but I don't like it. Now, let's say, for example, let's go back to hue, and let's say, actually, we like this. We don't want any colour. We only want the colour in the sea. Well, we can come back to this layer, and we can just paint out where the colour is still here. So we can just paint here, and say, yeah, we don't want any colour here, because that's what this hue one does. Takes or adds in more colour. So let's just let that preview in, and it's painted out all of the colour on the beach, and it's left all of the colour in the ocean, which is quite nice, quite interesting. We can turn this down maybe to 50%, and it just sucks a little bit of the colour out then. Let's turn it on and off, just sucks a little bit of that colour out. Still quite interesting, but I think soft light was my favourite. Maybe turn it down a little bit to there. Yeah, it kind of saturates it and darkens it. But anyway, that's obviously when we've got this beach on top, let's say overlay. That doesn't look great, but it's just kind of to illustrate what they're doing. But now this is where we use it a lot more, where we've got, let's turn beach onto normal, and this one was soft light that we liked, wasn't it? Yeah, something like that. There you go. So that's kind of using, you can literally go through and just have a play around for half an hour or whatever, however long you need, just playing around with all these different blending modes and seeing what happens. But I just wanted to illustrate, yeah, it looks nice when you got it over a random image, looks quite creative, possibly, you know, whatever. But this is where it comes in useful. You know, if you want to suck all the colour out, use hue and put it to 100, obviously. You know, if you want to just darken a certain area, soft light and turn your opacity down. That's cool. So yeah, cheers for tuning into this one. I hope you picked up some stuff there. Have a play around. That's the best way to learn. Just keep playing around, seeing what different ones do. Learn for yourself. I could talk you through each one, but I'm not going to. I want you to play around yourself with this one. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next session.